Hi, folks. With Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this presentation. Please listen to this as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the issue of abortion, and particularly in the US, where it's quite a sort of battleground type issue, but generally, and talk as well about the hysteria that surrounds issues like abortion and so on, but how successful the globalist cabal, and remember they control most of the media machine, so they've got a decided advantage there, but how the globalist media cabal can gin up emotional hysteria by telling the most outrageous lies, but actually get away with it, or largely get away with it. There's very little pushback on social media, where there is some pushback against the globalist narrative. This is the narrative they want to shut. These are the pushbacks that they want to shut down on the basis it's misinformation or disinformation, and only they are the sole arbiters of truth and accuracy, which is of course absurd and extremely totalitarian in its view. You'll notice that any ideological government, whether it's communism or whatever it is, will attempt to completely control the information flow. What you see, hear, what you're allowed to talk about and say, all that must be controlled by an ideological government. And they believe their ideology is in reality so fragile that any single voice that speaks out against it or questions it or asks questions must be shut down, put in prison, or taken out back and shot. So, and we're seeing the globalists are playing that same game as the communists did, or any other totalitarian regime throughout time. And if you look at there are regimes today that you would say veer towards the totalitarian, but they demand. There's one government, for example, that permits free speech, but you must allow the government to respond. So if you criticize the government, then you have to have a two-page, this is, for example, in a newspaper, you have to have a two-page spread. So the criticism of the government on one page, the government's response on the other. And you must have that balance. And if you give the criticism 1,000 words, you must give the government 1,000 words, and so on. And if the accusations you make against the government are untrue, you have to state it in the newspaper or the media outlet. Well, these guys are claiming such and such and so on, so that's not accurate, and so on. So you have to have you must have a certain amount of balance. And if you fail to do that, then the government takes, can shut down your newspaper or take you to court or whatever. So there are other places in the world. I've done a vast amount of business travel where there are certain restrictions on what you can say. And certain areas where you are allowed to criticise the government. Typically, governments where there's rich goons that are running the show, you're not allowed to criticise them, but you can criticise their flunkies, but not them. That sort of stuff. So there are various things. But the West was renowned for freedom of the press, which of course has all but disappeared these days. Anyone that talks out against the globalist project or its key issues, such as mass migration, runs the risk of being put in prison, for goodness sakes. Look what's happening in the United Kingdom. It's insane. And how successful the globalists have been at corrupting not only the police, politicising and corrupting not only the police force, but the Department of Prosecution, the Justice Department, and indeed the courts. I mean, that's crazy. Who could have imagined that sort of thing happening even a few years ago? But coming now to the issue of successfully putting scare narratives in, the globalists do this a lot, and they're able to get away with it. Trump is literally Hitler. So if Trump wins, he will be a dictator. These sort of claims. Now, they're absolutely absurd, beyond absurd. And it's a narrative they constantly run against Trump. After the 2020 election, Trump was having a meeting with the journalists. One after another, they baited him and say, "Oh, will you leave office on the day you're supposed to? Yeah, are you a dictator? Are you like Hitler?" And just ridiculous line of questioning. It was cringe-inducing to think that that's the level of questioning and the level of discourse that the media is approving and aggressively pushing, by the way. But coming now to the issue of abortion, I don't really have a horse in the race of abortion. I don't have very strong views either way. I don't think needless abortion is a good idea, but equally, do you want, especially in the black neighbourhoods, do you want 10-year-old, 11-year-old girls procreating? I don't think you do. I don't think that's a good thing. So I've got quite a nuanced view of it and don't really take a strong position either way. Nonetheless, I do want discourse on abortion, or any matter for any issue for that matter. I do want the discourse to be accurate and honest in its portrayal of the realities and the practicalities of the issue. And this is something that's definitely not the case in those who are in the pro-abortion side of things. So now we're at a friend's place, and their daughter, who's a not very bright girl, she's definitely affirmative action wavester in her case. Not that she doesn't come from a privileged background; she does. She's just an entitled brat, and because she's so lazy and careless, I don't think if her IQ is above 100, it's just. So she's no bright kid or anything, but she's doing like cultural studies or some bullshit at university. And so she's being plied with all sorts of radical ideology, but it came up in, given that the US election's coming close, and it's a big international sort of, the local globalist media never stops carrying on about it. Fuck. And again, the same sort of thing. Trump is literally Hitler and all that. So, but abortion is one of the things that they gin up. So, if Trump gets in as president, no woman ever will be allowed an abortion. No, women will die by them, and this sort of thing. And this is pushed through the universities here in Australia, and again, the globalist controlled media. So this girl. We're there like having a barbecue, and she's sort of there, and it came up about it looks like Trump may win the presidential election, and we're the only one, my wife and I are the only ones that are Trump supporters. The others, whether because they really are anti-Trump or because they think, given the sort of position, senior public servants and that sort of thing, judges, lawyers, and whatever, they think that they can't say otherwise, or it might affect their careers or their position or something. And if they, if the globalists want to get rid of you and you're in a high position like that and you've got an unblemished record, they can fix it. So some little waif of a girl, appears with a torn blouse. Oh, he tried to rape me. Or gigabytes of child porn magically appears on your computer. If they want to get you, they can. So I think those people are maybe they have private views that they think it's imprudent to declare. Nonetheless, it comes up about trying to end of the universe, literally Hitler. Blah, blah, blah. No facts or nothing at all, just emotional claptrap. The girl then chimes in. And I don't know, she's like 20 years old or something. And she chimes in and oh, yeah, if Trump gets in, he's going to stop. There won't be, no woman will be allowed to have an abortion. And all these women, and millions of women, tens of hundreds of millions of women being raped every day, every second of every day. And they'll have that, death, and everyone will die. Women will die. Now, she'll say the same thing about trans people, by the way, that if you can't, trans people are being killed by the 100 million per second, and she's it's all the same. All comes out of the same hysterical sort of volcano. But she's got this thing of Trump's brought out a law, and so no one can have the. So I thought, well, I'll just ask if okay. Well, no, I played dumb here. I thought, I don't know anything about it. I'm glad I'm sort of sitting next to someone who's so knowledgeable on this. I mean, she doesn't know squat, but I thought I'll crawl to her and see if I can get something out of this. And I said, now how? Just did you say Trump did? Yeah, it was Trump. Okay, well, he's had no political office. He's had no political position at all. He hasn't been the president for 3.5 years. So what legislation did Trump do that did this? Now, clearly, she doesn't know and doesn't know anything about this. She's just going off. I heard somewhere, which is often how these people respond. I'm only at this placard waving march because someone sent me a text saying it was really important that I come because it's an important issue. Oh, what is the issue? Well, fuck, I don't know. I just got a text. I've heard that Trump is literally Hitler. So they're, well, wait a minute, stop. So I put her on this gently as I could. I didn't want her to sort of run away crying or something. So as gently as I could, I put her on a spit. Well, Trump hasn't been off. So who introduced this legislation that you're speaking of? And she didn't know. She couldn't answer. Didn't know anything. So I said, look, the little bit I do know, and I mentioned about the Supreme Court said that each state can decide. So that no one has outlawed abortion at all. There's no outlawing of abortion. Where did you get that from? Oh, my lecturer said it was that's, and even if it wasn't, that abortion was outlawed, it's what Trump wanted to do. So really, it's just as bad as doing. No, wait a minute. He hasn't had a political office. He's not in political office and hasn't. So that can't be right. I wasn't quite as direct as I'm talking now, but that can't be right. And it's just that each state can do it. So no one's stopping anyone from getting an abortion. It's that each state now decides that some states have quite take quite a broad view of what's permissible to abort, up to and including a natural term of birth. Others say that you have to have an abortion within the first 16 weeks or something, and others say that you can still have an abortion if you've been raped or if incest or if the child is the fetus is deformed, or if there's a likelihood that the mother could die or be severely injured as a consequence. Place in America that has no abortions under any segment. That just doesn't exist. Again, where did you hear? Oh, my lecturer said that's what doing because that's what Donald Trump wants to do, to oppress women because he's literally Hitler. And so these are the types of discourses that are going around, and they rely on low IQ, particularly the women, but young girls. They rely on low IQ kids to get this, and for some reason they seem to. I've heard that Trump might be Hitler, that's, and then they just act on it. There's no, well, where did you hear that? Who said that? Where's your evidence? And evidence doesn't matter. And we see this, across the entire justice system in the West today, that there is an army now of fresh lawyers coming in, activist lawyers that have the view, well, facts don't actually matter. Evidence doesn't really matter. It's the ideology that matters. And ideologically, we can say that you are literally Hitler, and that's it. That's a done deal. You can't now deny that. There's no way you can get out of that. You are literally Hitler, and you cannot escape from that tag. Now, therefore, the evidence doesn't matter. Therefore, the facts don't matter because we've already declared you are literally Hitler. And that is very much the attitude that's creeping through. And we saw this, say, in the case of the protesters in Britain, in England, where the state took the view, if you're straight, white and male, then you're at another level of guilty. Whereas if you're brown, even if you've committed a much greater crime and the facts, the evidence, the videotape, everything's there, that kind of doesn't matter because you're not straight, white and male. So you're not literally Hitler, but they are, this type of thing. And so this is very much the method and the devices now that the globalist media have managed to impose upon us, or upon many of us, and it allows them tremendous latitude, just hurl accusations and pejorative, threats and all sorts of things. And because, well, you're straight, white and male, you are literally Hitler. If you support Trump or any of his policies, literally Hitler. You vote for Trump, literally Hitler, literally. And once you've got that demonization in place, the literally Hitler thing, then anything that they do to you is permissible because you're literally Hitler, up to and including assassination, it would seem at the moment. And anything you say in your defense, be it cast iron fact or not, that doesn't count because, again, you're literally Hitler. So, and this is the image that, or the concept or the position, if you like, that this young girl kept. But okay, it doesn't really matter if Trump didn't outlaw abortion, which caused millions of deaths. And so you can totally shoot her argument. There were no millions of deaths. There was no outlawing of abortion. All of these claims you're making are wrong. It doesn't matter because he's literally Hitler. Therefore, the facts don't matter anymore. And that invocation of the Hitler is they, as they see it, a free pass to say and do whatever they want to you with impunity. And the people that are not part of this horribly destructive globalist project really need to fight back against this. And any claim that anyone's a Nazi and if you say anything about the black lesbian, you can go to prison. We need to have these laws applied universally. You say anything about a straight white person, you go to prison. You accuse anyone of being a Nazi, you go to prison. You accuse someone of being a fascist, you go to prison. These laws must be applied universally and absolutely equally. They don't like, black lesbians don't like being derided. Well, neither does anyone else. And let's make it so in the law. You've been a Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.